stop. Before you worry about another bill, before you look at your bank account and tell yourself, I don't know how I'm going to make it, I want you to listen carefully. Because sometimes the greatest battle is not happening in your wallet, it is happening in your mind. Fear tells you that you are running out. Anxiety tells you that nothing will change. But faith reminds you that God has not abandoned you. You may be looking at a financial situation that seems impossible right now. You may have prayed for provision, waited for an answer, and wondered why God has not opened the door yet. But what if the delay is not the end of your story? What if God is preparing an opening that you cannot see yet? Scripture tells us not to be consumed by worry about tomorrow. That does not mean we become careless with money. It means we stop allowing fear to become our master. So today, I want you to hear this message with a different heart. Stop worrying about money. Not because your problems aren't real, not because bills don't matter, but because your God is greater than your financial circumstances. There may be an opportunity, a connection, an idea, a door, or a provision approaching that you never expected. And when that door opens, you need to be spiritually prepared, not desperate, not fearful, but wise, disciplined, and faithful. So stay with me until the end, because this message may change the way you look at your money, your waiting season, and most importantly, your trust in God. Financial fear can become one of the loudest voices in your mind. It begins with a number on a screen, a bill sitting on the table, an unexpected expense, or a payment you don't know how to cover. Then your thoughts begin racing. You calculate everything again and again. You imagine the worst possible outcome. You wake up thinking about money, spend the day thinking about money, and lie down at night still thinking about money. Slowly, the financial problem becomes more than a financial problem. It becomes a source of anxiety, frustration, anger, and hopelessness. That is where you have to become spiritually alert. There is a difference between being responsible with money and being controlled by fear. Responsibility says, I need to make wise decisions. Fear says, everything's going to collapse. Responsibility creates action. Fear creates paralysis. You can acknowledge your circumstances without allowing those circumstances to define your future. Maybe right now you are looking at an empty account. Maybe you have debts that seem impossible to overcome. Maybe you are waiting for employment, a business opportunity, a payment, or an answer that has not arrived yet. You may have already prayed about it many times, asking God to provide a way forward. But prayer does not mean pretending that difficulty does not exist. Prayer means refusing to believe that difficulty is greater than God's power. Your current financial condition is a moment, not your identity. A difficult month does not determine your entire life. A rejected application does not mean every opportunity has disappeared. A closed door does not prove that no door will ever open. Fear wants you to stare continuously at what you lack. Faith teaches you to recognize what remains possible. Look at your abilities. Look at your experience. Look at the people God has placed around you. Look at the opportunities you previously ignored because you were afraid to try. Look at the skills you can develop. Look at the decisions you can change. Look at the habits that have been draining your resources. Sometimes the answer to financial pressure begins with something God has already placed within your reach. You may be waiting for a miracle while overlooking the responsibility directly in front of you. That is why you must quiet the panic long enough to think clearly. Do not make desperate financial decisions simply because you are frightened. Do not accept every promise of quick money because anxiety is demanding an immediate solution. Do not allow desperation to make you careless. Stand still mentally, breathe, pray, then examine your situation honestly. Ask yourself where your money is going. Ask which expenses are necessary. Ask what can be reduced. Ask what skill could become valuable. Ask what opportunity deserves serious consideration. Ask whether pride, impatience, comparison, or impulsive decisions have influenced your financial choices. There is strength in facing reality without surrendering to fear. You do not need to know every detail of tomorrow before taking the right step today. Your responsibility is today's decision. Tomorrow belongs to God. When fear says there is no way, answer with disciplined action. When anxiety says you are finished, answer by getting back up. When uncertainty says nothing will change, answer by continuing to prepare. And when your mind begins replaying every financial problem at 3 a.m, remember that worrying through the night will not create a solution that wise action could not create during the day. There is a season when waiting becomes harder than working. You can work, plan, apply, sacrifice, save, and pray, yet the answer still seems delayed. During those moments, the heart begins asking questions that have no immediate answers. How long will this last? When will something change? Why has the opportunity not appeared? Why does someone else seem to be moving forward while you remain in the same place? This is where trust becomes real. It is easy to say you trust God when everything is going according to your plans. The deeper test comes when the numbers do not make sense, the opportunity has not arrived, and your timeline feels completely different from what you expected. Waiting does not mean God is inactive. There are things happening beyond what your eyes can measure. A connection may be forming, a skill may be developing, a circumstance may be shifting. A door that appears closed today may require preparation before it becomes available. You cannot always see what God is arranging while you are standing inside the waiting period. That uncertainty can become uncomfortable, especially when money is involved. Financial pressure demands immediate answers. Bills have dates. Responsibilities continue. Needs remain present. Yet panic cannot create genuine provision. You need wisdom while you wait. Instead of allowing uncertainty to consume your attention, use this season to become prepared, strengthen your discipline, improve your abilities, review your decisions, learn something valuable, build relationships with people who encourage responsible growth. Search for legitimate opportunities. Take practical steps without demanding that everything happen according to your preferred schedule. Trust does not mean sitting motionless. Trust means moving forward without allowing fear to dictate every decision. There may be moments when your prayer seems unanswered because the answer has not arrived in the form you expected. You may ask for money while God brings an opportunity to earn. You may ask for immediate relief while circumstances begin teaching you habits that protect your future. You may ask for one particular door while another possibility is developing somewhere you have not considered. This is why impatience can become dangerous. When pressure becomes intense, people often reach for whatever promises instant relief. They borrow without understanding the consequences. They spend emotionally. They chase unrealistic opportunities. They make decisions from desperation rather than wisdom. Do not allow a temporary financial crisis to push you into choices that create a longer struggle. Give yourself permission to slow down mentally. Bring your concerns into prayer, then bring your responsibilities into action. God does not require you to understand everything before you take the next faithful step. You can trust him while making a budget. You can trust him while searching for work. You can trust him while building a business. You can trust him while paying down debt. You can trust him while learning from previous mistakes. You can trust him while waiting for an opportunity. Faith and responsibility are not enemies. A person can believe in divine provision while becoming more disciplined with every resource already available. Look at the widow in Scripture who gave from what she possessed. Look at Joseph, who remained faithful through seasons he could not control. Look at the people who continued serving God before they understood how their circumstances would unfold. Their examples remind you that your present location does not reveal the entire story. Your waiting period may be uncomfortable, but discomfort does not automatically mean abandonment. Some doors require preparation before opportunity arrives. Some answers require patience before they become visible. Some changes begin quietly before they become obvious. So stop measuring God's faithfulness by today's bank balance. Your account may show one number while your potential contains possibilities you have not yet explored. Your circumstances may look limited while your next opportunity is still developing. Your responsibility is to remain faithful, alert, disciplined, and willing to act when the right opportunity appears. When a financial opportunity finally appears, you need more than excitement. You need preparation. Many people pray for an open door but never prepare themselves for what they will do once that door appears. They ask God for increase, yet continue living with the same habits that created instability. They desire greater provision, yet remain unorganized, impulsive, distracted, and unprepared. A financial opening requires wisdom to recognize it. Sometimes the opportunity will not look dramatic. It may begin with a conversation, a new responsibility, a job offer, a business idea, a useful connection, or a skill that suddenly becomes valuable. If your mind is consumed entirely by fear, you may overlook something important because you are expecting a miracle to arrive in one specific form. Stay attentive. God can work through ordinary circumstances. A person may introduce you to someone who changes your professional direction. An opportunity may appear because you finally learned something you previously ignored. A small decision may eventually create a larger result. A responsibility that initially seems inconvenient may place you in an environment where your abilities become visible. This is why preparation matters before the breakthrough becomes obvious. Organize your finances, know what you owe, understand your expenses, separate necessities from impulses. Develop useful skills, strengthen your work ethic, improve your communication, protect your reputation, become dependable. These things may appear ordinary, but ordinary discipline can position you for extraordinary responsibility. If more money enters your life without greater wisdom, the increase can disappear as quickly as it arrived. A larger income does not automatically create financial security. Without discipline, greater resources can simply create greater spending. Without boundaries, additional money can increase unnecessary commitments. Without patience, sudden improvement can produce decisions that damage long-term stability. Therefore, prepare your character alongside your circumstances. Do not become so desperate for an opening that you accept every offer placed before you. Some opportunities are genuine. Others are distractions disguised as solutions. Some promises sound impressive but contain hidden risks. Financial pressure can make people overlook warning signs because they desperately want the situation to change. Use discernment. Read the details. Ask questions. Think carefully. Seek wise counsel when necessary. Never allow urgency to eliminate judgment. A legitimate opportunity does not require you to abandon common sense. There is also another part of preparation that many people overlook: emotional readiness. If you've lived under financial stress for a long time, receiving more can feel unfamiliar. You may suddenly have choices that you never had before. You may feel pressure to prove something to people who watched you struggle. You may want to spend immediately because you remember everything you could not afford previously. That is where discipline becomes essential. You do not need to announce every improvement. You do not need to impress anyone. You do not need to turn every increase into a new lifestyle. Let wisdom lead your decisions. If God provides an opportunity, treat it as a responsibility rather than merely a reward. Ask what this increase is meant to accomplish. Could it help you become debt-free? Could it strengthen your household? Could it create savings? Could it allow you to invest in education or skills? Could it give you greater freedom to serve others? Could it help you build something sustainable? Those questions transform the way you view provision. Money should become a tool, not a master. When you prepare correctly, you become capable of handling what you have been praying for. You begin thinking beyond immediate relief. You start considering stability, stewardship, generosity, responsibility, and long-term growth. Perhaps the door has not opened yet because there is still preparation happening within you. That does not mean you should sit passively. Work on yourself now, build the habits now, learn the lessons now, strengthen your discipline now, correct the patterns now. So when the opportunity arrives, you will not spend your energy wondering whether you're ready. You will already have developed the wisdom, patience, and discipline required to recognize it and walk through it. When provision finally increases, the real test may begin after the breakthrough. Many people know how to pray during scarcity, but fewer understand how to remain disciplined during abundance. Hardship can teach you dependence, while prosperity can quietly introduce distraction. When resources become available, temptation often changes its appearance. Instead of worrying about having enough, you may begin wanting everything. This is why wisdom must accompany increase. If an unexpected opportunity arrives, resist the urge to spend immediately. Give yourself time to think. Financial pressure may have trained you to react quickly, but improvement requires a different mindset. You need patience before making major decisions. Look at what has changed. Determine whether the increase is temporary or sustainable. A single payment is not necessarily a permanent transformation. A new position may provide better income, but it may also bring additional responsibilities. A profitable month does not automatically guarantee future stability. Clarity protects you from emotional decisions. Start by creating order. Know exactly what comes in and what goes out. Identify obligations that need attention. Build reserves when possible. Reduce unnecessary expenses. Avoid allowing lifestyle changes to consume every additional dollar. There is nothing wrong with enjoying legitimate blessings, but enjoyment should not become financial carelessness. When your circumstances improve, remember the pressure you experienced during the difficult season. Let that memory teach you wisdom rather than fear. You now understand what uncertainty feels like. You know how quickly unexpected expenses can disrupt a plan. That knowledge can become valuable if you use it to build stability. Do not allow comparison to steal your progress. Someone else may purchase a larger house, drive an expensive vehicle, travel frequently, or display wealth online. Their lifestyle does not determine what you should do with your resources. You do not know their obligations, debts, sacrifices, or private circumstances. Your responsibility is stewardship. Use what you receive according to your own situation. Perhaps the wisest decision is paying an overdue obligation. Maybe building an emergency reserve should come first. Perhaps investing in education could increase future earning ability. Maybe supporting your family responsibly matters more than displaying success publicly. Every financial choice communicates a priority. That is why prayer should continue after provision arrives. Do not only ask God to open doors, ask for wisdom to walk through them correctly, ask for self-control when temptation becomes stronger, ask for discernment when attractive opportunities appear, ask for humility when success changes how others treat you. Ask for generosity without becoming irresponsible. Ask for courage to say no when something looks impressive but does not serve your purpose. Greater resources require greater responsibility. If you suddenly receive more money, do not assume that every desire has become affordable. Your income may have increased while your long-term obligations remain significant. A larger paycheck can disappear quickly when spending expands without boundaries. Create limits before emotions create them for you. Decide what percentage belongs toward necessities. Decide what should be saved. Decide what should address debt. Decide what can reasonably be used for enjoyment. Having a plan protects you when excitement begins influencing your judgment. Also remember that generosity should be guided by wisdom, Helping others is beautiful, but you do not need to destroy your own stability to prove that you care. Healthy generosity can coexist with responsible planning. You can support someone while maintaining appropriate boundaries. There's another danger that appears when financial circumstances improve: pride. You may begin believing that everything happened because of your own strength alone. You may forget the lessons learned during difficulty. You may become dismissive toward people who are still struggling. Remain humble. Success should deepen gratitude rather than arrogance. Let improvement make you more responsible, not more careless. Let increase make you more generous, not more self-centered. Let opportunity make you more disciplined, not more impulsive. The goal is not simply to possess more. The goal is to become capable of handling more without losing your values, your peace, your judgment, or your responsibility. Financial anxiety can become a place where fear, faith, and responsibility collide. When money becomes uncertain, the mind naturally searches for security. You begin calculating possibilities, imagining future problems, replaying past mistakes, and wondering whether you will have enough to handle what is coming. Yet this constant mental pressure can consume the energy you need to make wise decisions. Instead of allowing anxiety to become your identity, begin transforming it into purposeful action. Faith does not mean ignoring financial realities. It means refusing to surrender your peace while dealing with them. You can acknowledge debt without believing you are doomed. You can recognize limited resources without assuming your future is permanently limited. You can face an uncomfortable season while still believing that circumstances can change. Start with gratitude. Gratitude does not deny difficulty. It redirects your attention toward what remains available. Your abilities, time, experience, relationships, knowledge, health, creativity, and willingness to work all have value. Sometimes fear becomes so loud that you forget the resources already present in your life. Look at what you can build from where you are. If your current income is insufficient, search for ways to increase your skills. If expenses are overwhelming, examine your habits honestly. If debt is creating pressure, create a realistic strategy. If employment has become uncertain, continue developing connections and pursuing legitimate opportunities. Action gives direction to faith. Every responsible step matters. Saving a small amount matters. Learning a valuable skill matters. Submitting another application matters. Making one difficult phone call matters. Removing one unnecessary expense matters. Improving your discipline matters. These actions may seem insignificant individually, but consistent decisions can gradually change the direction of your financial life. Do not underestimate small beginnings. Many people want a dramatic breakthrough because they are exhausted by gradual progress. They want one event that immediately removes every burden. Sometimes life does change suddenly, but often stability develops through repeated choices that seem ordinary at first. Be willing to respect the process. Your financial future does not need to be built in one day. You need today's wisdom. Tomorrow will bring its own decisions. When anxiety returns, bring your attention back to what is actually happening rather than what might happen. Fear often creates imaginary emergencies. Your mind may predict rejection, failure, loss, embarrassment, or disaster before any of those things occur. Challenge those thoughts with reality. What do you know? What can you verify? What action is available? What decision can wait? What problem actually requires attention today? These questions can interrupt the cycle of panic. Prayer can become part of that discipline. Instead of repeating the same fearful thoughts endlessly, bring those concerns before God with honesty. Ask for wisdom, patience, courage, discernment, and strength. Then become willing to act on the guidance that aligns with responsibility. Faith becomes powerful when it changes behavior. If you pray for provision while refusing every opportunity to work, something is missing. If you ask for financial improvement while continuing destructive spending patterns, something needs examination. If you ask for a new season while remaining attached to habits from the old one, progress becomes difficult. Your prayers and your actions should move in the same direction. There will still be days when fear returns. There will be moments when an unexpected bill appears. There may be setbacks after progress. There may be opportunities that fail. There may be periods when you feel as though nothing is happening. Those moments do not erase everything you have learned. Return to discipline, return to prayer, return to wise planning, return to gratitude, return to the next responsible step. Do not measure your entire future by one difficult month. Do not allow one financial mistake to become a permanent identity. Do not let temporary scarcity convince you that abundance is impossible. Your circumstances can evolve, your knowledge can increase, your skills can improve, your decisions can become wiser. Your opportunities can expand, and while you wait for the financial opening you have been praying for, prepare yourself to recognize it, handle it responsibly, and use it for a purpose greater than simply escaping the pressure you are experiencing right now. As you move forward, remember this: do not let money become greater in your mind than God. Your present situation is not the final chapter. Keep praying, keep working, keep making wise decisions, and keep your heart grounded in faith. If a financial door opens, receive it with gratitude and handle it with wisdom. If you are still waiting, remain patient and continue preparing. God can bring opportunities through places you never expected. Trust His timing, strengthen your discipline, and refuse to let fear control your decision. May God guide your steps, provide what you need, and give you peace through every season.